Today we're going to be making the remaining part of this outfit. Please do well to watch the part 1 of this video. Hello everyone, welcome back to Jegalia Apparel. If you're here to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you. Okay, so can you see what we have here? I'm so sorry, I'm making use of a pencil because my marker is a bit faint. So but I hope you can see the line. This is our starting line. Okay, this is our starting line, and this is the bust point. I've measured the bust point. You just take your measurement, place it like this. Okay, this bust point, you can see this is exactly 11, and then the under bust length is 15. As you can see that everything tallies. And then this is the waist length, which is 19, and then this is the hip length. All right, so the next thing we're going to be doing now is to take the back measurement. Our back measurement is 16, half of that is 8. Okay, half of 16, and then the bust circumference, which is her armhole depth, I'm making use of 8 inches. All right, now for you to get that, perhaps you don't know how to get that, just multiply, what am I saying, divide your bust circumference by 6, divide your bust circumference by 6, and then plus 1.5, add 1.5 to whatever you get. All right, so I'm going to be marking this straight down. Okay, I'm going to be marking this straight down, and this is going to be our chest line. Okay, this is going to be our chest line. All right, this new line here is going to be our chest line, and I'm going to use this to get a armhole curve. Okay, just a bit of it, just a little bit. I usually don't even use up to half inches. Right, so even though I don't need this neck depth, but I'm still going to make it so that you just understand what we are doing. But I'm using 3 inches. All right, and then the shoulder slope. So for the shoulder slope, I don't think I've ever used up to 1. So it's barely 1. This is just like for the shoulder slope, I'm making use of ½ inch, and then for the neckline, I'm really not making use of any neckline, so I'm just going to leave that. But you can decide, because this dress is not going to have any form of neckline, that's why. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to check our nipple to nipple span. Our nipple to nipple span is 8, which is half of that is 7. So I'm just going to mark half of that is 4 rather. So I'm just going to mark 4 all round here. Okay, just 4, and then draw a straight line. And then the next thing we're going to do is to connect all this. Connecting all this. Okay, extend that up here. Okay. I believe you can see this line. Right, so you can see the line that I drew. Now remember, this is our under bust length. This line here is our under bust length, and this is the bust point. Now, because when you're working with a bridal corset, when you're working on a corset, all those +1, -1, and then start drawing a curve on your pattern paper. If you're making use of a bra cup, you don't need all that, because that calculation is for you to make this. And if you already have this, there's no need for you to start drawing all that. If you're making a dress that is going to be using a bra cup, you don't need to start making all those calculations. So don't complicate things for yourself. Right? So what we are going to do is, now we're going to get the mid point of this bra. Okay, this bra cup, I'm going to get the mid point. So I'm going to use the marker. It's faint, but it's going to show. Can you see? So this is the midpoint. And I'm also going to check it down here, okay, so that we can get the midpoint down here. So I'm going to do the same, just connect it like this. So you can take the second one and do likewise. Okay, take the second one. This is the mid. So I'm just going to alright. So now all you need to do is to take your bra cup, and then you can see this line, this nipple to nipple line measurement that we have here, this line, you place it, point this midpoint must connect to it, it must meet, it must tally. Can you see that it tallies with this one? So now when you look at it from the down, I hope you can see this. Let's see if you can see it well. You will notice that it tallies with this. Okay, so let's get back. So this is it. So I'm just going to place it like this, and then okay. So now if I take this out, can you see? Oh well, I'm going to make that bolder. Let me see if this marker will work so that we can make it easy and before it runs out. Can you see? Okay, now you will be wondering, it's not getting to the chest line, meaning the chest line is going to be exposed. No, it won't be. What you do is you can equally extend this. Then when you're sewing the dress, you can use your interfacing to cover this up. Okay, when you're making the dress itself, we use the interfacing to cover it up, because if you are going to look at the length from here to this place, this is 11, meaning it's going to expose most part of the breast. It's going to expose most part of the dress, and then the client doesn't want her bust to be exposed like that. She doesn't want her bust to be exposed like that. So this 8 is very much okay. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, okay, what's the distance between this? This is like 3 inches. Okay, 3 inches. So I'm going to increase it when I'm sewing the dress. I'm going to use interfacing to balance this up so that her breast isn't exposed at the end of the day. Now to add a little bit of as a curve, I'm just going to make use of half. Okay, just curve. You can use your curve ruler to do that. You can use your curve ruler, or just have a little curve down here, just to add a little bit of princess cut there. Remember, I'm not making use of a neckline, any neckline here. Now the reason is because this is like a tube. Alright, there's no sleeve for the dress. Now that strap is something else. So the next thing I'm just going to do is to take the body measurement. Now her bust is 38 divided by 4, that's 9.5. So this is 9.5. Okay, and then I'm going to be adding, this is 1 2. All right, 1 2. So I'm going to use 13 for it, meaning I'm making use of extra allowance because of all the things I'm going to cut off and at the end of the day, so that I don't get shortage of fabric. So as I sew, I will trim. I rather have more fabric than have less. See, and her waist length is 31.5. You can as well just say 7.7. So, but I'm just going to use it. Then plus 2 inches, and then I'm going to make that 12. I just added like extra inches. Now for the hip, a hip is 41 10 point, just going to say 10.5, and I'm going to add extra to that. I will trim later on as I make the dress. So I'm just going to connect all this together. I'm going to connect all this together. So can you see? I hope you can see this. Alright, so now this part, this corset, I'm not going to open up this part, alright, because I'm not going to open up this part. So and I'm just going to leave it this way. You can actually open it, and then to create a dart, you join it up later on. You can open it up and join it later on. But as you're opening it up, don't forget when you're cutting the main fabric, leave allowances. That's like half inch or 0.3 inches for stitching together. Very, very important. So I'm just going to use pin to secure all this, then we can cut the back. Okay, so we are now done. There's one more thing that we are yet to do. Okay. Now there is this waist length. I'm gonna come down. This is the waist length. I'm gonna come down by 2 inches. Okay, I'm going to be creating a curve. Okay, just to make it different, I'm just gonna create a curve. Can you see what I did? If you can't see, let me use a pen, a marker. So can you see? The marker is faint. So can you see the curve that I just made? So instead of a straight line, so I'm just making use of this curve. So this one is no longer necessary. This is where we are going to cut off. Alright, so this just watch.
Show Jegalia style, we make you glow. From Lego streets to the world we go. Fashion and beauty, you already know. Jegalia, Jegalia, may you glow. Apparel, fresh, confident show. Jegalia style, we make you glow. From Lego streets to the world we go. Fashion and beauty, you already know.
Now for us to cut the back, I've gone ahead to draw all the necessary lines: the chest line, the bust point, under bust, waist, and then the hip line. So, and I've also gone ahead to draw the map out the nipple to nipple measurements. So for that, on the under bust length, I'm just drawing using a 0.5, and I'm going to connect that to the bust point. Okay, I'm just creating a dart. Alright, so and then from there I'm going to connect that to the hip line. Okay, just as you're seeing me doing. So you just to create a dart. Alright, so and that, and then if you notice, I didn't leave zip allowance. I'm just bringing this forward so that you can see. I'm just zooming it so that you can see the lines that I have drawn clearly. If you notice I didn't leave zip allowance, is because at the back we're going to have a loop. Okay, now I'm going to mark out 1.5 inches from the back, right where the loop is going to be starting from. Alright, you know it's going to have an opening at the back because we are creating a corset. So I'm marking at 1.5 inch right from the top, right, the chest line down to the hip line. Okay, I'm taking out 1.5 inches. So I'm cutting this out of this measurement. This is not going to be needed for the style. because of the opening at the back, and you know it's going to have a modesty panel that will be covering that part, so that is why it is not going to be needed. So please just watch what I'm doing. You're going to get it. It's not so difficult. So I'm just going to mark that out so that it can be indicated that is not needed for this measurement. And the next thing is to take the body measurement, all right, just as we did in front. All right, so I'm just going to take the bust measurement, which is 38 divided by 4, and I added 3 inches, all right, just for to accommodate and to make up for all the cuttings and allowances and stitches that will be needed at the end of the day. All right, so I always advise to have more fabric. If it's much, you can always cut it off rather than to have less. When you have less fabric, it affects the entire outfit that you're making. When I cut this out, I'm going to create the same slant that I created in front. I'm going to come down by 2 inches and then connect that. Just draw a line. You can make it deeper, you can make it higher. It depends on what you are trying to create. So I'm just going to make check this if the length align. Can you see that the front and the back actually align? So that's exactly what we want. All right, the two has to align. So I'm just going to come up by 1 inch. All right, so this is just client preference. She doesn't want most part of her body to be exposed. All right, so you can stick to what you want to do. See, corset is all about creativity. You don't have to do what every other person is doing. Do what you want to do, right, based on what you desire to sew or what your client wants. Right, so I'm just aligning all this and then securing with a pin before I cut it out.
Show Jegalia style, we make you glow. From Lego streets to the world we go. Fashion and beauty, you already know. Jegalia.
After cutting out, I went ahead to label it so that I don't make a mistake when I'm sewing. So just label for your own understanding. Okay, call it whatever you want so that it's easy for you to understand, because you are the one that's going to sew it at the end of the day. Right, so I'm just going to place all the pieces that we've cut out, or the patterns that we've cut out. I'm just going to place it on the main fabric. Remember, we are using an ashoke. Alright, so we've done the drafting of the skirt, we've sewn it as well, and this is the upper part of the gown that we are making. Right, so for all the parts that I'm going to be joining, I'm leaving 0.5 inches or half inches for sewing allowance. Okay, make sure you leave sewing allowance for stitching so that it doesn't affect the overall measurement that you've left already, the allowance that you left. All right, so that's basically what is happening here. I've gone ahead to add interfacing to all the pieces that we've cut out. Now I've also ironed it out, as you can see. Alright, so I'm going to be starting with the back. Alright, now the joining of the back, how to stitch everything together, how to join this modesty panel, create loop. I have a video on that. Now this is for the breast pad. Now for the breast pad, I use hard interfacing. This is the strap that will be connecting the front to the back. Okay, I have 25 inches here. I made it a bit longer to cut off excess if necessary, and the width, the wideness I'm using is 2.5. so this is I'm going to stitch it. All right, so I'm just going to turn it this way and then turn it out at the end of the day to join to the front and the back. It's going to connect the front and the back together, just as you saw in the image, the style that we are creating. Go to the sewing machine and stitch the back. Now this is the front. I've gone ahead to stitch the darts together, both the main fabric and the lining, right? And I've also ironed it out, added interfacing. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is to join the fabric that will be used to cover up the breast pad. Okay, so I'm just going to take this to the sewing machine and we are going to stitch each piece together. All right, so I'm just going to stitch, just taking in 0.5 or 0.3 inches inside and then iron it out. Okay, next thing is to join the breast pad. Okay, we're going to join the breast pad to the main fabric. All right, as you can see. Before I do that, I noticed that the ashoke was kind of transparent, so I added interfacing to it just to cover up that transparency, right, before attaching the breast pad to it. I had to do a whole lot of the making of this outfit off camera. It was because I was short on time. I had to deliver this outfit and it was leaving the country. The wedding was so close, so I had limited time to make the outfit. So pardon me for that. I'll make another video that would explain every part that I missed. I'm going to create another video to explain any parts that I missed, so that you can have a better understanding of how to create a bridal corset and every other thing that you need to know. All right, after attaching the breast pad to the fabric, so you're going to take the each breast pad, you're going to take each piece and you're going to sew it to the outfit, just as you see. Make sure the darts corresponds with each other. Make sure the darts, the lines, those lines, make sure it meets. Right, it's very important. It gives your work good finishing. And then do likewise on the right side. Okay. Do the same thing on the lining before attaching the lining to the main fabric. All right, so you attach the lining to the main fabric, and that is all. Now, thank you for watching this video to this extent. This is the final outlook of the outfits. If you're yet to subscribe, please do that, like this video, share it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.